You're watching this video and you hear Warren Buffett talking about compound interest. What the heck is he talking about? So today, by the end of the video, you will understand what compound interest is. We'll go through some examples and we'll take care of you. So compound interest, we're going to get into some definitions here in a minute, but it's interest that applies to the initial principal of an investment or loan and the accumulated interest from previous periods. So let's go through some of the words here and unpack this a little bit. So first word is interest. When you talk about interest, you're talking about something that you can get paid, some percentage of money that will accumulate over time. For example, if you put $100 in a bank account and it was making 5% a year, your interest would be $5 every year if it was paying annually. So it's some type of return over a period of time is interest. Principal, we're not talking about the principal of a school, but we're talking about principal with an AL at the end. Your initial money that goes into something. So go back to let's change it up here. Let's say you're putting, let's get real fancy. Let's say you're putting $1,000 into Bitcoin. You're buying that Bitcoin with $1,000. That is your principal. That's the amount of money you put in initially for the Bitcoin. Same thing with a loan. If that's the initial amount you're receiving. If it was a $5,000 loan, you'd receive that $5,000 initially. So principal is what you start with. Investment is putting your resources into something in hopes for some type of return on it in the future beyond what your initial resource you put into it was. So for example, the Bitcoin example we just gave, if you put $1,000 into that, if you want to call it, there might be controversy if that's an investment or not, but if you put $1,000 into that Bitcoin, you're hoping it's going to return more than the $1,000. You're hoping you're going to be able to take out $5,000 later. So that would be considered an investment. Or a non-controversial one is real estate. Buying a house for $200,000 in hopes it's going to return some type of return in the future. Maybe when renters pay you or you sell the house altogether, you're hoping you're going to make more than $200,000. Loan, that is borrowing money. So, for example, some people do have student loans. The government just forgave a lot of those recently, I believe. So a loan is, for the student loan example, you're borrowing money, but you have to pay back interest on that money that you are borrowing. So if you borrow $5,000 in a student loan, you'd have to pay back, maybe you might end up paying back $9,000 because of interest. So that's their words here. Another simple definition of compound interest is earning or owing interest on your interest. So let's go back to the $1,000. Let's say you put that into a savings account. Let's say it's making 5%, which is kind of about where we're at right now, believe it or not. At the end of 1 year, your $1,000, if it was making 5%, would be, you'd have $1,050 in your account. And starting year 2, you would get, if it was compound interest, you would get 5% on the $1,050. So I could figure that out, but you're going to end up the second year getting more than $50. It's going to be over $1,100 because of the compound interest at work. So it's pretty cool. A few examples. We just gave the example, good segue. We just gave the example of the savings account where you receive the compound interest. You receive the second year, you're going to receive even more. Over the $1,100. The credit card debt. So let's say you are out on a spending spree and you spend $1,000 and you don't pay back your credit card bill when it's due at the end of the month or whenever it's due in the next 30 days. So you've put that on credit, so you've said that you're going to pay that money back by a certain time. If you don't pay it back, then you're going to owe interest on that $1,000. And credit card companies charge quite a bit. It'd probably be at least 20% more that you're going to pay back. And so I believe credit card companies do compound the interest over time of what you owe. So hopefully this helps a little bit. If there's any questions you have or you want to get some clarity on, you can leave that in the comments below. And I also will drop a video or two in the description box below if you want to learn more of something else that's related to this. And I will see you in the next video.